Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching TVC Breakfast Saturday. So in the last couple of minutes, we've been speaking with Ayobami Ogundeyin. He's the head of operations at Proforce Nigeria, a leading military hardware manufacturer based in Ogun State, Nigeria. And it's really been fascinating hearing you talk about your growth, your strides, and you know, before we move on now to what the future holds, let's talk about how you've been able to stay in business. Okay, so we understand that you have such a vast, area of operations beyond. There's the air. You also have, services that you render for air, even for regular people. But in terms of how you've been able to stay in business, what would be that one thing?
I think two reasons. One, like you mentioned just now, diversity. We don't just have one product. We have our land systems, we have our air systems, right, naval systems, even space systems and intelligence systems. So Proforce is diverse. We don't just have one thing. And then also, we have very loyal and dedicated clientele. Our clients have been patronizing us for a very long time. We can take the likes of our own state. Ogun State has patronized us greatly across this last administration. We have the likes of Katsina, likes of Delta, even Abuja, CBN. I mean, our clients are the ones that are holding up Proforce every single day. And when we provide great products to our clients and being able to provide security for them, this is what has kept Proforce going and stand the test of time. Because most people in Nigeria, and it's always been the case, they just import something, deliver it, and that's the end of the business. But for us, when we're providing and building this equipment inside of the country, and we have close relationship with our clients, we are able to continue to do business no matter what. And that has also helped us expand outside of the country as well with our exports.
For me, I know buying Nigeria, made in Nigeria goods. Tell us more about those hardwares. Are they made in Nigeria, purely made in Nigeria, privately owned? Tell us more about this.
Okay, so Proforce is a privately owned company. And yes, all the equipment are made by Nigerians inside of Nigeria. But I would actually like to add in, and this also goes to where the government support has actually helped out. One of our subsidiaries, which is Proforce Limited, is actually, we had an investment from NOG. This is the Nigerian Army's investment arm. So it just shows the support that we get from them as well. And they've brought in 20% into that company as well. So it just shows you what Proforce is about. And we are interested and we want Nigerians to know that a Nigerian company is providing security for them. And it's not just for Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria is the giant of Africa. We are providing security for Nigerians, by Nigerians, but also for Africans, by Africans.
Right, and okay, so security is such an expensive venture, but then it's needed. In terms of the capacity of Nigeria, first of all, let's have your overview of what security is like in Nigeria presently, being one of the, if not the most major concern for the regular Nigerian. Where are we now in terms of making the needed purchases in combating insecurity, terrorism, and the likes in Nigeria?
I think, as you can probably see from the current administration, in fact, even just recently, His Excellency, the President, gave a charge to the armed forces in Abeokuta via the Vice President, to the armed forces to finish the job that they've started. I think we can all see that recently, insurgency has quietened down. They've almost been eradicated, let's say. But to every Nigerian, you can be rest assured that work is being done in the background and work is being effective. Because I can take it back to a few years ago when, I mean, even I myself you could be afraid in your household, but now I can walk up and down knowing that I'm safer on the streets of Nigeria. And even going up into Abuja, moving forward up into the north, you can also see things that become much safer because it shows you that security is working, the armed forces are working, the police are working, every single part of Nigerian security forces are working these days.
How affordable are some of those hardwares that you telling Nigerians and the government to buy?
So this is always the question that is always asked. So the best way to answer it is that in terms of global standards, in terms of costing, you can say it's on the affordable side of things. To every Nigerian, we might see it as, oh my gosh, we're spending a lot of money. But then at the end of the day, how much value can you put on the life of every Nigerian? I know that each Nigerian's lives are worth more than the naira that you see being spent at the current moment. But if I was to really just answer your question rather than doing the normal deflecting, it is affordable in the global standards, but it is global standards. So that's one thing that I will say.
Right, and how much research does Proforce put into its work in terms of how are you able to be ahead? Because
bringing innovation.
Right, bring innovation. You know how insecurity is. Just when you think you are there, and then a new security threat comes up.
Yeah.
First of all, we were talking about fighting terrorism on land, but now IT has come to play and all of that. You also mentioned space. So how much research do you think is needed in ensuring that all these concerns are thoroughly thrashed?
Okay, so thank you for asking about research. Funny enough, now Proforce actually has an R&D sector, an R&D facility as well. And this is how we're able to stay ahead of not just our competitors, but also ahead of the insurgents as well. So when you're looking at R&D, I mentioned earlier that we actually do hire a lot of young engineers, young entrepreneurs really, to help us move the business forward. And these young minds help us understand what is the next thing. For example, we have AI technology that we're currently working on. We also have the likes of a PCB laboratory that we're also building as well. So these are different things, different innovations that are currently ongoing at Proforce, and it helps us be ahead of the game. But in defense, you have to also realize that you always have to keep moving. You can never stay still. You mentioned just now that you think that you're there than something else, because everybody is trying to get ahead of the next person. So Proforce, I can assure you right now, what you see that in the everyday market for Proforce is not where we are. We are 10 steps ahead. I'm sure you know in foreign governments, you might see they're releasing a 4th generation of something, but meanwhile, they've researched into 6th, 7th generation. So Proforce is also learning and also implementing that strategy as well when we work as well. So our research and development is going on all the time. We get feedback from the armed forces every single day about what they see in the field. And our young minds are constantly working every single day to help push us forward ahead of all the challenges ahead of us.
Right. What are the different components that make up Proforce, and what are their duties?
Sorry, may you elaborate a bit more on that?
No. You are Proforce.
Yes.
There are different components in Proforce.
Yes.
So tell us, what are the duties that they are saddled with, the responsibility they are saddled with?
Right.
Okay. So we have I believe if I should answer the question the best way I understand it, is that we have our land systems.
Right.
So the land systems deals with everything that you should see on the land. These are the armored vehicles, APCs, that's armored personnel carriers. We have our MRAPs, we have bullion vans, we have our private vehicles. So that's our land systems department. In regards to our air systems, this is where we have our drones, our radar sections as well, etc. Anything to do with air security, that's underneath our air systems. Naval is where we look at our naval vessels, different vessels such as riverines, such as gunboats, etc. This is obviously anything to do on the waterways. And then when we now look at intelligence, this is where we're talking about open source intelligence, signal intelligence, MC catches, etc. This is where we're talking about being able to get into the backbone of everyday devices, etc., which is what we have enhanced capabilities in. And then lastly, with regards to the space systems, this is where we're talking about a constellation of AI remotes, sensing satellites to be able to help synergize all of these different forms of security. So I don't know if that answered your question, but I think that was just the best way I understand what you are trying to ask me.
Right, and in terms of morale boosting, especially of the corporate war against insecurity, how do you think these gadgets that you're offering to your clients, especially in Nigeria and beyond, how do you think this are also able to boost morale of the personnel using them?
Well, for us, our clients come first. Not just the clients, but everybody using Proforce products. To date, there's not a bad report I can get in regards to Proforce delivered products. Whenever we speak to our clients, the first thing that they always say is they are so happy that it's made in Nigeria. That's the first thing. The next thing that they always say is they're so surprised that what they find in Nigeria is exactly what they've been importing all these years. So to them, they see it as great morale boosting of, now we know that not just can we have quality products, but we have we have like kind of feeling of we're part of it now, that Nigeria is doing this, that we're helping each other. So that's the kind of morale boosting, that they have this kind of patriotism. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. They have this kind of patriotic feeling, knowing that we are out here fighting for every single Nigerian. I mean, you and I were all being protected by our armed forces. And they also feel very patriotic that we are using our own products to be able to provide the security for our own people. How many African countries are patronizing your product? So currently, directly, we have about 10 countries. But if you're to look indirectly, because Proforce products are not just used by said countries, but they're also used for peacekeeping in other countries. So you might find Proforce products in up to 30 countries within Africa. But however, what we've even seen in Proforce is that people want us to go beyond the shores of Africa. We've been talking with Southeast Asia, South America, Europe, in regards to providing security as well for them, because they've seen what Proforce has done here, and they want us to replicate it over there, because I'm sure you know it's expensive for them. If they can find the same product at a cheaper price, they're willing to go ahead with it. So.
Right. And okay, so you operate directly from Ogun State, or I hear there's a facility in Port Harcourt. Is it similar work it does with that in Ogun State?
Okay, so our facility within Ogun State is the main hub right now. Our facility in Port Harcourt is actually dealing with the naval systems. But in fact, it's funny that you say that. We actually have a new facility that we're currently building right now. That's the military industrial complex that we call Proforce City. And what we're building, and this is over 108 hectares of land, and what we're building is what you see anywhere across the world. I mean, if you see in the US, if you see in Israel, if you see in Turkey, if you see in Egypt, they all have military industrial complexes which caters to the nation. And what we're doing there is that we're going to build brand new facilities bigger than where we are right now. Currently we sit on about 10 hectares, but we're going to go even bigger to have something that can cater and can really rival foreign companies.
Where is that? Nigeria?
It's also in Ogun State. I mean, I'm an engineer in Ogun State, so we have to patronize our...
So that's an overview of the future, or are you looking at a broader scale now? Is that what the future, is that where you're pumping?
Exactly.
Right, that's your main focus for now, or are there other areas, terrains that are yet explored that perhaps you are exploring?
So we do have other,
the future for
we do have other terrains that we are currently exploring. And there are also other facilities within this nation that are underneath the Proforce banner. I mean, we're in collaboration with the likes of Daikon with some of our products as well. But there's only so much I can say in regards to that. But what I can tell you is that these facilities are currently almost completed. Some of them are completed and they are operational. And once again, they're all providing security for the nation.
Right.
And
well,
for me,
that's
the major
great.
one there is about the quality of those products and how Nigerians can also believe in what you sell. So what message do you have for them?
Well,
about the quality, you know sometimes when you bring in made in Nigeria or you start doing some comparison, some will tell you, I don't know that.
Unfortunately, I guess it's maybe mentality of us thinking that Nigeria can't produce. But I mean, look at how many titans of industries are currently producing state-of-the-art equipment here in Nigeria. All I will say to Nigerians is that what you see others doing, that they're showing that Nigeria has the capacity to do, is also what Proforce is doing. And I guess you can take my word for it and be reassured that the quality is of the standards that you expect.
All right, that would be a fine place to leave our conversation. We thank you very much, Ayobami Ogundeyin, for your time with us. Mr. Ogundeyin is the head of operations at Proforce, a leading military hardware manufacturing company, of course, based here in Nigeria. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.